All right, so we are live. I'll just check with my moderator if we can start, and then I'll start the session. All right, so we are live, and I'm starting the session. So good morning to the people who are joining us from the Pacific area, and good evening actually to the people who are joining from the Asia region. So this session is arranged as part of the Cybersecurity Week, and I'm really honored to be hosting this very busy and brassy panel of cybersecurity experts who are primarily working in New York and New Jersey areas. They have vast experience of working in cybersecurity domain at different financial institutions. All of them have worked in very leading global financial institutions and have years, I should say decades of experience. So this would be a very interesting and very knowledgeable session. I will take the opportunity to thank all of them to take the time out of their very busy schedule. I know this session is only 1 hour, and we all folks are extremely passionate about security, and this 1 hour would not be enough because this is I used to talk to these guys on daily basis, and trust me, I have learned a lot just by talking to them. So I hope you guys would have a fun time. You guys would learn a lot. We will be talking about cybersecurity problems, issues, challenges, how we are going forward, what is happening right now, what the future looks like, where the paradigm shift is. If you are looking to get your career into the cybersecurity, what can be your stepping stones and the path? So all these things we will be talking. And on this note, I will take the opportunity to introduce all of them to you. We have Saif Jafri with us. Saif Jafri is Senior Vice President, and he's looking especially towards cybersecurity engineering and operations. And he is working for Mizuho Bank. He also has worked for other financial institutions. Thank you and welcome, Saif, sir. Do you want to say a couple of lines about yourself, sir?
Yes, thank you, Imran, for the great introduction. And I thank you for the Xperteq for hosting this and organizing this great event. And I'm honored to be part of this. Thank you for having me. Regarding me, I've been in cybersecurity field for almost 20 years now, and it's been interesting ride, up and downs, and seen a lot of changes, and that we will be talking through this, and hopefully that will help audience and viewers today to help them make a informed decision on with respect to their career, and how to pursue the next steps after their colleges. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Saif, sir. And thanks for your introduction. And this is really impressive. And from one impressive to another impressive, I'll go to my mentor, Rahul Pinto. He's Director, Head of IT Audit, working in Bank of China. I have pleasure of working with him for several years in a couple of organizations. And he is my light tower. He's my guiding stone. Rahul, sir, would you like to add a couple of lines to your impressive profile that I cannot do justice explaining?
Thank you so much, Imran, for inviting me to this panel. Looking forward to having a good discussion out here. Yeah, I bring to the table 20 years or plus of experience, first, second line, third line of defense. Third line is generally audit. And the first line is actually where you put in all your cybersecurity controls. So it'll be interesting. I'll talk through some of these, pain points during this discussion.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Rahul, sir, for joining. And last but not the least, the man who is a busy bee, the man who is an inspiration, the man who is working tirelessly. And this is the guy whom I haven't learned anything because I am not capable enough to absorb what all he do. He is working on a wide range of things, be it a project management, be it architecting the cybersecurity solutions, be it evaluating the emerging technologies, be it the threat hunting, be it the new cutting edge technologies, all these things. And so this is Tapan Ghosh for you people. He's also Senior Vice President, Cybersecurity Architecture and Project Management in Mizuho Bank. The one guy who is really a wonder whiz for us, the one person who can do all kind of a guy. So Tapan Ghosh, sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Imran, for all your kind words. I am really excited to join in today's discussion. As Imran said, I have been working in IT field since last 30 years. Like when I started, security wasn't that important. Like it was there, but it wasn't that important. But then gradually it become extremely important for every IT sectors. And I have the opportunity to observe the evolution of IT security, uh, as we say, from cradle. So, and I'm looking forward to share some of those experience and learn from others' experience, and we all can, learn from each other's experience, and together we move forward with this journey. It's IT security to me is a journey. So we all can help each other to make this journey enjoyable. And I'm very excited and honored to be part of this discussion today. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for the introduction, Tapanda. And as you guys have seen, I was not telling lies. This is a very brassy panel, and I'm really honored to host you guys. So the topic, by and large, of this discussion, this is a kind of a fireside chat with the industry thinkers, stalwarts, and leaders. And we will be talking about it's kind of following the rabbit hole of this cybersecurity. It's like unveiling the cybersecurity controls, threats, and career scope. Because if you see these days, the cybersecurity landscape is changing. It's changing dynamically. It's changing exponentially. It's changing every given day. So we will be talking to these folks, and we'll try to understand why this whole the fuss. What is all this fuss about cybersecurity? And then how the attackers are working, how the defend guys are working, and then what the industry look is right now and what is industry looking out in the future. So on this note, I'll start my my first question with Saif sir. So Saif sir, I'm confused and I'm amused. What is this all fuss about the cybersecurity these days? Because we have been hearing this in the news. We are hearing this in the tabloids. Be it about the elections, be it about the voting that is happening in US right now, or be it about the industrial espionage. What is this industrial espionage? Be it about hacking, ransomwares. Why all of a sudden this cybersecurity has become a hip, hype, and trending thing? What has really changed? Is it a new phenomena? Or well, it was always around and is just getting the traction right now? And if it's getting the traction right now, why now? What has changed? Just fill us in on that, sir.
Good question, Imran. And I know a lot of people are curious. You are absolutely right. Nowadays, you pick up a newspaper or a news channel, and there is a headline about some cybersecurity, hack, attack, or someone, stole this much money or something like that. However, this is nothing new, actually. This is not a new phenomenon. It's been there, always been there, actually. And I have seen is the malicious intent and adversary and fraud, it's always been there. It's just matter of the battleground has changed. Everything, all the business, individuals are online. Every possible human being have it now hand what do you call connected to internet, and they are pretty much 24/7 online. So the exposure has basically become very high, and the surface area for attackers and hackers are huge now. They so basically it became very easy and quick for bad guys to really take, impact huge number of people in very quickly and easily. So that's where the money is now, right now. You don't hear anymore there is any physical hacking or anybody stealing physically money. Because business and all the money, banks, everything is online on the wire. So that's where the bad guys gonna go for. So that's what they are trying to hack and attack these institutions to gain financial their financial gains. There is political gains, and there is for intellectual property they are going after. However, so this is what they're going for, and this is becoming very easy, and because of the technology advances, and the technology has become very powerful. So this is good for the business, but at the same time it is benefited the bad guys as well. For they leverage the this great technology, which very capable of doing good things, but they are if they use it improperly and gets on wrong hands. So that's what they leverage this. And along with that is what I've seen is recently is AI, the artificial intelligence and machine learning, which became which made them very powerful, really, to go after these things, and very efficiently and effectively. So that's why you see is a lot of news, and always there is some sort of hack or attack happening. Like recently, ransomware is actually, it appears to be a new type of attack, but actually it's been there for some time. As per CISA, Cyber and Information Security Agencies, it was first seen back in 1989, which is a long time ago. So, but recently it's picked up again. The same hack basically picked up, and bad guys taking advantage of that, and that you see every day as some sort of ransomware attack happening, and which is making the basically headline. And you see it. See, we all are social media users, and there's always this news, and anywhere you go is about some sort of hack attack or cyber security incident, and that become very obvious and seems like it's a hype, and very prominent nowadays. But actually it's been there. And so is security we are been doing since 1800. It's just physical. It was physical security. You don't see any more physical guards guarding like
Got it.
they used to in a bank. Now we have to do the same thing
Makes
online,
sense.
guard the banks online. So it's been there. It's not anything new. It's just. And another thing is a lot of money involved. There's a lot of financial gain behind this, though, and this is a lot of nations and state sponsored attacks happening right now. And this is more of became an organized crime rather than some kid curious trying to hack just to show off, with between their friends and family members.
That's right.
But it has become more organized crimes, and you wouldn't believe that these hackers and attackers, they have regular jobs like us. They go to work 9 to 5. They have families, and they get paid to do this. So So but it's not easy. It's very skilled,
So,
people who are doing it. But it is
so,
a lot
Saf,
of
sir, sorry,
effort behind it.
Saf, sir, so cutting you off, sorry, but you are saying
Go
that
ahead.
hacking is no more a lone warrior somewhere out in the woods who is trying to hack you. It's a whole enterprise right now. They have jobs, they have perks like us, and there's a whole economic engine behind that. That's what I got, and that's pretty scary because this means it will only grow in the future. It's not like one guy is doing it or two guys are doing it. It's either one guy or a whole company, or maybe it's state backed. So, well, that's a scary scenario. But thanks for explaining that. Thanks for explaining that. So, Rahul sir, Saf sir
Exactly.
has painted a yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to say something, sir? Yeah. So Rahul sir, Saf sir has painted a pretty scary picture. He's saying, hey, be aware of that. Hackers are not lone warriors. They are organizations. They are hunting in a pack. So now I just wanted to understand how you guys who are working in cybersecurity field in financial sectors, how you guys are lined up to defend them. What kind of security functions are there in your organizations? Is it one guy versus one guy? Or it's like you do also have a structure in your organization. People are assigned to do one job, somebody is doing another job, and this is how you guys are defending yourself. So would you like to explain us on that briefly, sir?
Yeah,
How your organogram in cyber defense looks like.
yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the fundamental and the most important aspects of cybersecurity, and in any institution, whether it's financial or it's a government agency or it is public sector like retail, I think one of the most important things is governance. So cybersecurity governance, it has to come from the board level. It has to be the tone at the top has to drive that, because if you don't have that tone at the top, then you don't have that kind of uh, you know um, culture within an organization, and also the spend, right? Because cybersecurity costs money. I mean, you have your assets out there. I'm talking about data, and you need to protect that. So unless that tone is driven from the board, you will not have that kind of movement within an institution to back that drive. So that's very important. Now, talking about my 20 years of experience, primarily is in financial institutions like banks and asset managers. What we see out there is we implement something called a three line of defense. So what happens is you have the first line of defense, which essentially are the business, people who are the frontline unit, is called, people who run your business. So it could be your traders, it could be people, on your retail, it could be your point of sale or whatever. So that's the business aspect, the frontline people. Then we have something called a second line of defense, which is your risk, the managers, the people who assess risk. What is my exposure out there? Now, from a data perspective, like they will always ask questions. Am I hosting online? Is it in the cloud? Am I on-prem? So depending on what is your exposure, they have to put in controls, right? So you put in the right controls to prevent somebody for the threats out there, which could breach your data or whatever. It could be malicious, or it could be for whatever reason. And then the third line of defense is what you have audit coming in. So my current role is in audit, while I've spent time in first and second line. So my current role is in audit. Now, this three line of defense actually it came out in 2013 by the IIA, which is the Institute of Internal Auditors, and it kind of now it's become a global standard. A lot of the large financial institutions are implementing it, whether Bank of China, Mizuho, what do you call JP Morgan Chase, Deutsche Bank in Europe, or any of Barclays in Europe. So it's become a standard, and it's very, very effective in addressing cybersecurity from a management perspective. So so that You get the monies, you get the drive, you get the support you need to put in the controls.
So this means you are saying that it is not like one guy in your organization is only responsible for cybersecurity, and it's not like this is only one skill set. You need a lot of skill sets and aptitude and whole well-oiled machinery to defend, right? This is what essentially you are saying.
Absolutely. So cybersecurity today is built like if you see the ISO standard and if you frame it around the 27002 series, it is a information security management system, ISMS. So you have a whole system driven by the board, and then you have like the CISO who talks to the CEO, and he drives that. So you need, it has to be a top-down approach. And then, of course, you have various teams, involved in actually putting the controls in. Like I said, the first line, some security teams sit in that first line, some security team which assess risk sit in the second line, and of course, you have audit as the third line. So yeah, so essentially that's how it is. And if you have that kind of structure in any institution, you will have a thorough and a better approach as managing cybersecurity risk.
Awesome. Thank you, Rahul, sir. This is a very good concept given to everyone that the cybersecurity is an operation. It's not a one guy job. And this brings me to the next question, Tapanda, because I'm, this year is very difficult for a lot of people. And it's like you having this airy feeling. Things are changing, things are uncertain. And then in the midst of that, we saw a rise and rise of cloud computing. Everybody's talking cloud, everybody's going cloud. I know you are working on all these emerging technologies and emerging threats. What do you think? Is cloud the ultimate solution from security point of view? And have you seen that because of this COVID, the whole attack scenarios are changing, the way attackers were attacking, the way they were trying to compromise people. So what is happening in this ground? Are we becoming more vulnerable? Or because of the situation that is changing very quickly and people do not understand where we are standing as a society right now?
Thanks, Imran. This is a very, very good question. It's a very valid question at this time, especially, when majority of us working virtually, remotely. So, like, as you said, like a lot of discussion were happening in the past, like maybe 10 years, 12 years when cloud first started. And initially, everyone thought like, oh, this is going to be another buzzword, in the industry. That's how it started. But gradually it became a disrupting technology. So it changed the concept, like fundamentally how we think. Like still like financial institution. I've been in the financial institution since 2004. And when first cloud was introduced, I remember like that time I was one of the top 3 bank in the world, and there was a lot of resistance. Like people couldn't think like we could put our crown jewels data into
That's
cloud.
right.
But things have drastically changed today. And especially, as I said, like during this pandemic, majority of these cloud vendors have seen tremendous tailwind in their revenue. So top cloud vendors haven't seen what they haven't seen in the past, like last 6 months. They see like last 2 quarters, 30% or more growth. And we have seen like people who are not adapting cloud in the competition, they are left behind. So even very conservative banks, financial institution, government, Department of Defense, Homeland Security, everyone is kind of compelled to take advantage of cloud computing.
But
And
Tapanda, this is the problem. Yes, cloud has advantages, but does it has risks as well? Are you covering those bases?
yes, yes. So it evolved. Like you're absolutely right. When we put our data assets into cloud, it comes with a very big risk. Like because then it is no more our traditional networking hub and spoke concept. So earlier, traditionally, what we used to do, we used to have a castle where we used to keep all our assets, like our users, data centers connected to the network. And then we used to build a moat around the castle. So we used to call it network security. We used to work very hard to secure our network. And then it's like a drawbridge. We used to inspect when people used to come, when people used to go. So that castle and moat concept is no more there in cloud, because now there is no perimeter. You put your stuff in cloud, and then now it's a multi-cloud. So you put your stuff distributed across multiple clouds. So you cannot secure your network anymore, because then you have to secure the entire internet. So your internet is become your network now. So instead of that, what we are focusing now is into the data security part and the user security. So these two organizations are paying more attention to secure, and the majority of the cloud security, because it's a new concept, like it takes time to develop the skills, bringing in the right tools to secure, and then establishing the right process, solidifying the processes to establishing the governance so that we don't leave any gap. So that's where we still see there are gaps in terms of skill sets for cloud security. And like majority of the challenges that we see currently is due to lack of skill sets. Like the major threats from cloud is from the misconfiguration. So a lot of breaches, like a recent study from IDC shows like 79% of the organizations, they have in the past 18 months, at least one breaches from the cloud. And
Tapan, on this note, I want to ask you one thing, and all of three you can chime in. Why is still after all these years, and as Rahul has explained, there is a whole 3-layer or 4-layer of security. Why still we are seeing configuration issues? Why still people are vulnerable? Why? You all three can chime in and say why. What do you guys think? Why?
Because of this governance piece hasn't yet matured for cloud. Like we still configure a lot of stuff in cloud, which is slightly different than what we used to do for on-prem network. And there the governance like tools are maturing now. We see CASB. CASB is like one of the front runner tool that a lot of organizations are deploying to establish that governance. But still, there are some gaps which it still hasn't addressed. So because of that, we don't have the full visibility of identity and access management type of tool that can give you nicely like who has what access at what level. So in cloud, because it is distributed, as Saif sir mentioned, like now, like earlier we used to have maybe 10, 12, 20 internet gateway. But now if you ask a CISO, like how many internet gateway, like egress, ingress points you have, if they have 10,000 employees, he will say 10,000. And then in fact, I asked this, and one CISO said first 10,000. I said, whoa, 10,000, that's great. It's a big jump from 20 to 10,000, right? Then you have to protect all 10,000. He said, no, sorry, I misspoke. It is 25,000. I said, wow, why? He said, see, if every resources now has a laptop, has a cell phone, and has probably an iPad. So, and everyone is going to internet. So that becomes an, exit point to the internet. So the landscape has widened so much. So that's why it's still, there are gaps. So we have the, as Saif sir mentioned, like machine learning and AI is helping a big way. So that is kind of able to help us narrowing the gap and maturing the security. So it has matured. Like now, lot of, that's why you see financial institution is adapting cloud, because it has matured to that level where like they can afford to go to cloud.
So awesome that you are saying that yes, cloud too has benefits and it has its quirks and cons as well.
Right.
So on that, Saif sir, Rahul sir, and Tapanda, I want to ask you one thing, and I always keep asking this question to you. What are the biggest threats or risks in cybersecurity that keep you awake at night? What are your worst fears that, oh my God, this shouldn't happen? Saif sir, couple of them. What you don't want to, like you are sleeping at night 2 a.m. you got a call from your SOC operations, what you do not want to hear from them? This kind of a question. Yeah. And are you receiving all these calls, the midnight calls that, hey, your firewall is breached, hey, what is happening, China is trying to breach you? This is not good, right? So
Right. No, you are absolutely right.
Come
I
on,
think, yeah, go ahead, sir.
come on, Imran, don't scare me. I hope I don't get those calls.
yeah, I'll filter them for you, sir.
Don't scare me. I don't want to get those calls.
Yeah.
No, that's a good question. And I think any organization, any business, they all have crown jewels to protect. And most of them, especially healthcare and financial institute, the data is their crown jewels. They have to protect the data. There's always confidential, sensitive data they have, and if that leaks, then they have chances of their reputation gets damaged, or they on the because of they have to report the data leakage to regulatories, and so they basically come on the news, and then their reputation gets damaged.
Yeah, and to add,
Besides the financial loss they have to go, and there's a lot of process to report it and so forth. So data is important,
Paramount
and
importance.
so they have
Yes.
to protect the data. And as Rahul mentioned, there's a lot of process and the controls they have to put in place to really protect that data. And there is no silver bullet, right, to just you implement this tool or
That's
this
correct.
solution or this process and it will take care of, okay, it will protect all your data.
Awesome.
So there is a long
Awesome.
process and very mature process you have to go through to really protect your data. And I mean, to at a high level, essentially you have to identify the data first, like what are you trying to protect, where the data is and what is the data, and then each
So
organization needs to know that. So once you know that, then you basically put controls around it with respect to access and detection or any leakage of that data. And
right.
we in security, we basically follow the layered approach where
Exactly.
defense
Exactly.
in depth.
Defense in depth.
So
Got it.
it's not just one control. We have to have the first yeah. And
Got it. And
so
so
that's
thank you, sir,
we
for
have to basically implement for access control, make sure the authorized users only have access, and then if there is any data leakage, we have to have the control to detect that.
So Saif sir is
Yeah, go
essentially
ahead.
explaining that yes, there are a lot of threats that you can have, but you need kind of a framework. So Rahul sir, I guess you were explaining the playbook part. You were trying to explain that part. What do you think? Yeah, there are threats outside. They can come and hurt you, haunt you. What is your take? How can you really be prepared? Because it can happen. Just be very frank. You protect yourself, but you can still be compromised. So what is your best shot?
yeah, so I think from a industry perspective, like there's no silver bullet like what Saf said, but there are various frameworks out there, like you mentioned on the word framework out there to help you build a cybersecurity plan or a risk assessment within the organization. So NIST is a big institution out there, which is it defines a lot of standards and it is free. It's U.S. government sponsored. We have various others like the ISO, but that costs money. ISO 27001, which you can, and it has controls. Now NIST has a couple of, they have the 800 series and the 853, which is very specific to information security. It's very, very detailed. So if you take that and you benchmark your organization against that, you will definitely get all the controls possible, right from that DID, the defense in depth you spoke about, having all those layers. it covers everything. That's one. And NIST recently also, I think in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, they released the NIST CSF, which is cybersecurity framework. That's another great tool. And then you have other tools for, especially for cloud. You have the Cloud CSA, Cloud Security Alliance. NISA is out there. ISACA is there. So there are quite a few frameworks. If you can, depending on your organization, you can use some of these to help you build a good, robust security risk assessment platform, as well as your cybersecurity framework within your organization.
I got it. Excellently explained. You have explained us very well how this whole framework thing is working. But
Yeah.
again, then I'm confused. Tapanda or Saif, sir, you can chime in because you
Yeah.
guys are doing this thing a lot. Do you, because to implement a framework, yes, as Rahul sir has explained, you need money, you need resources. And to get money and resources for cybersecurity, that is not an operational thing. Do you need a madman kind of sales pitch skills to go to your board and say, hey, I need a tool. Oh, we need another tool. Oh, I need another tool. And then I need some resources to manage them. Oh, I need more resources to build a framework. Where is going to end, and how it is? So when you go in the board or senior management and when put up your proposals for all this money, do you get the budgets, or it's like you really have to sell it very hard?
So yeah, so the question is, what are you trying to prevent, and what are you trying to protect against? For and what are the threats out there and your vulnerabilities? So what's very important, like I said, this governance of information security or cybersecurity is very, very important in an organization. So unless you have that drive from the management right at the top, from the CEO or the board of directors, you're never going to have that support.
Makes sense.
Now for a financial institution, let's say for example a bank's reputation is very important. A bank's liquidity, market risk, all these factors come in the way to operate. Now, a cybersecurity breach or a cybersecurity attack can affect the bank's operation, and of course, then you have legal penalties. You have your, reputation, and all these things can affect all your credit rating and everything. So it's very, very important for banks to implement a sound security framework within the organization. So to answer your point, it all depends on what are you trying to protect. So like a retail online retail will focus on their website. That's key. They'll make sure that they've pen tested it. They're continuously monitoring their website for attacks. Be it like a DDoS attack, or somebody trying to kind of manipulate or do fraudulent activity. So it all depends on your risk exposure of that.
Makes sense. So Tapanda and Saif sir, are you having a hard time selling this to the management that we need budgets, or they understand this is important?
I think yeah I'll try
Yeah,
to
actually, this is good.
explain. Go ahead, Saif sir.
No, what I was saying is actually I have seen change management on cybersecurity. You're right. It used to be we have to go really madman and trying to sell and ask for money to new control or solution or tool by, but it's I see that it's no longer that difficult because of there are a lot of new regulations like recently came out last year, GDPR for privacy and data privacy, and even existing regulations have been more strict and enforced, and we are getting audited left and right from all the regulators. So that's definitely, if you don't comply with these regulations, there's a huge penalty for that. So management and companies understand that, and
Okay.
they see the penalty is much higher than the solution. As well as said, if there's a breach, data breach, it could cost somewhere from 100, around $150 per record that they lose. So which is huge. I mean, billions of dollars of damage or financial loss that can face if they don't
Got it.
have, if there is a single breach happens. So they basically compare these costs, and they it makes sense, and mathematically that
Makes
they
sense.
do the calculation that is easier and for them to keep their reputation as well, to invest in these tools and have the controls, and from the what do you call, survey and research and study, it shows there will be like around 123 billion dollar spending in cyber
Okay.
this year. So companies are spending money and controls. So it's somewhat smoother, what do you call, to convince to management. However, you still need to show the value on ROI and to really get the money funding for the
Perfect. Got it. Good
tools.
answer, and thank you. So thank you, Saif sir. And Tapan, that very quickly, what is your best leverage that you use to get this budget from management? Is it a scare technique? You scare them. If you don't give me, you can get hacked. Or what do you do? What's your
No,
secret sauce?
good point, Imran. No, there is no secret sauce specifically from my end, but I just want to add like couple of thoughts here. What I see is now I see, especially in financial sectors, CISO has a permanent seat in the board. Earlier, CISOs were not there. So now CISO has a permanent seat in the board, and there are few regulatory mandates, especially related to the penalties. Now, like if there is any security breach, then management and board also will be equally hold responsible for that. So that's why they are taking it more seriously now. And what I see this transition, like earlier, a lot of people, especially senior management and board, used to see, and business used to see security as a preventer of their business, like it delays their staff and put a lot of controls, this, that. But now I think we reach to the stage where they see IT security as a business enabler, which is a big achievement. So they are more collaborative these days. So that's what made it better for us to get that funding from senior management. So they are more like generous now to give us the fund that we ask them to support our initiatives. So that's why you see a lot more activities happening recent days. We are able to get more funding for supporting new projects. Imran, you are on mute.
You're on mute.
So thanks a lot. Sorry, I was on mute. This happens a lot these days. So thanks a lot for this answer. This means that going forward in the future, there's a market for that. People who are aspiring to come in this industry, they are required by the industry, because industry knows how valuable and important they can be for the business. So thanks for that part. And I have couple of quick questions where I would like really you guys to give me that the trend of this cybersecurity threats. What are the emerging threats? Name one or two that Tapanda you think are the emerging threats. Similarly, Saif sir and Rahul sir, I want to compile a list of 4 or 5 threats that any student or any practitioner should keep an eye where they are right now and how they are progressing in the future, so that they can learn about it and create a defensive for that. Please.
I think I'll add quickly here. Like it is not an emerging threat. It's been there for a long time. Phishing, like we all are familiar with phishing. So and
It's
the thing
ages
is,
old, sir. It's ages old.
yes, but it is still on the top of the list of threats that this recent Verizon 2020 data breach incident report. Still, it is like on the top of the list of threats. And the reason it is still on the top of the list is because it works with our, human psychology, like our emotions, and the attackers play with that. And I don't see this threat is going away. So it's going to be there. So any one getting into this field, like keep an eye open. And like you might hear some new names like phishing, from phishing, like spear phishing, vishing, smishing. because the attackers, they try to package it slightly differently in a new way, innovative way. So
Well, this
as
is a mouthful of jargons.
yes, it is. But you might hear those lingos, but it's nothing but like another form of phishing, and I don't see that is going away anywhere in future.
And
So
it
that
will only mature in the future. That's what you're saying.
it will take new shapes. So and be aware of that, and educate users, and don't click on the link you get in the email or attachment. So just be aware of that. Or even like if you get an SMS like, oh, you won a vacation package, don't right away
Ah,
click on it to check what is that vacation package. Or sometimes like targeted phishing attacks, like they become so sophisticated now. In spear phishing, they're doing targeted phishing attacks, saying that, oh, you might, like for the audience, like if
huh?
there are a lot of students, they might get an email from their principal or head of the department, like out of the blue, and then you might go and click on the link or attachment, open the attachment. Like that is
Okay.
something to stay alert on
So,
those
so,
kind of, what you don't expect, don't go right away and jump onto it, verify.
so
So
essentially, you are saying that these bad actors are actually harping on our greed or fear.
yeah, it's your greed,
Fear.
fear, urgency, and like all this curiosity. Like a lot of people are curious, and like now like COVID-19
Oh,
and this pandemic, like it has increased. Like Google published statistics, like it has increased 350% this phishing attacks, and
oh my God,
between
that's
January and
crazy.
March, and that's too much.
That's
So,
crazy. That's
and
crazy.
yeah, so there will be always something going on. Like right now election is going on, so they will capitalize all this, current topics, and using that they will try to fish you out of this. Like they will send a lot of messages to you, and then once you click, and then you get hooked,
Boom.
and they must be
Okay.
getting. Yep. So you have to be very careful on that. And
Awesome.
yeah,
So,
I'll
so
let Saif and Rahul add any other thoughts
Just,
to
just,
emerging
Yeah,
threats.
so
just,
just one line, guys. Do not click every
just,
link that you get. You have won a lottery of $10,000. No, you haven't. That's what you're
I
saying
think
essentially.
Yeah, I think just to add to what Tapan just mentioned, I think when you talk about phishing, that's the only inbound, data which you allow in, number one. And number two, most of the APT attacks, they start with that. So they'll spray organization with the, like, thousands of email, and, one or two people click, that's it, and they're in. So that's how they start. And they also use this, what do you call, phishing, not just for actually getting a foothold within the organization and to take your data out, but just to understand the software you're using. And so most of these APT threats, which originate from phishing, they like you said, they are nation sponsored, state sponsored, and they wait years before they actually perform an attack.
So, Rahul, sir, you are saying that they are getting meaner and they are getting mature and they have more patience. They know just they have to get one guy make a mistake. That's it.
That
And they have a chink in the armor.
that's
And
it.
they went through it.
And if you study the what happened to RSA, how they got that
Exactly.
that they use
But one
phishing.
email.
Yeah, just
But
one
one
email,
email.
and they went after them. So it's pretty effective. They have a lot of patience out there, and eventually they get you. So I mean, from cybersecurity side, of course, you need to put in controls at all your layers. Ensure that you have
Absolutely.
proper controls out there at your endpoints, as well as I think educating the users is very effective.
Okay, thank you for that. And Saif, sir, very quickly on that. So this explains the whole phishing thing. Exploit is in. Now what is your control? SOC environment? And I know you have been working on SOC and SIM very, very closely, like a couple of years. Where this whole third party MSSPs is standing on that. Quickly, if you can tell us, are they mature enough? Is it a good control alone? Or do we need to really up our game? Saif, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Good question, Imran. This is, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
we can. We
Can
can.
you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you
We
hear
do
me?
hear you. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
okay. So, yes, that's the question. This is as Rahul explained, there are a lot of framework to basically that are guide for us to implement controls. So then one of the like NIST framework where you have they give you where you identify, protect, detect, recover, and respond to any data leakage or any cybersecurity incident. So in that framework, there is the detection part comes where basically this SOC and SIM solutions fall into. So we have put in all these controls and everything, but you need to proactively monitor these controls and incidents, events. If there is anything, any anomalies or any unauthorized activity happens, how would you know, right? So then that's when the SIM is comes in play. So let me just give you quickly what is a SIM is essentially is nothing more than, because you have thousands and thousands of endpoints where business is running and users are logging in, and if any malicious activity is happening or not, you wouldn't know. So what SIM does is essentially is captures collects logs, security logs, like audit logs that has the events where user log in, what they did, and so forth. So that's what we SIM collects from each endpoint and keeps it. And then we have basically rules to put some sort of logic to identify if there is any unauthorized activity happening or any malicious activity is happening. So once you put the rule in and then it triggers, then the SOC comes in play where they look at those alerts and then follow up on those and investigate further
Okay.
or triage
Perfect.
the incident and escalate and remediate. So that's basically it's not a straightforward or simple process. It's a long ongoing process that you have to establish and mature over time and make it work. So I mean, I don't want to
Got
go in very detail
got it.
because it is a detailed process, but I just want to make sure
That's
our
correct.
audiences understand where each piece really fit in. So logs from all the endpoints and create rules and correlation rule rather, where you collect, look at two different type of logs and try to make a story behind it, what happened and how it happened. And based on that logic, you create alerts where somebody, in this case is SOC, Security Operations Center, looking at the dashboard to look at the alert and then follow up on what happened and then take the remedial
Got it.
steps. So that's
Got it.
the process. And what I see is with respect to maturity, I see that establishing SOC and SIM is somewhat mature process. However, the insider threat and threat hunting or of the aspects of these things are not mature enough. It's still developing, and I think that's where we need to get to really get value out of it. I see most of the companies, they
No,
implement SIM solution, but they don't even use it up to 50% of its capacity. So it has to be used,
potential.
and in
That's right.
along those, again, only SIM solution or tool wouldn't do the job. You need to have the process and people around it solid to really make it work as expected, to take full
Got it.
benefit of it.
Perfect. So good answer, Saif sir. You were saying it's all about people, process, and procedures, and and of course the product you are using. It's not one thing. Thanks a lot for this debate. And I'm coming back to Rahul and Tapan, and I'm asking you a funny question, maybe, because I am always asked this question by a lot of cybersecurity aspirants. Couple of things. You guys can take turn and whichever you want to respond. First thing, do you really want to be a hardcore programmer or a very hands-on tech guy to be in the cybersecurity operations? One. Number two, do you guys really think a degree is more important in this field, or a certification would help? I'm asking this question because most of the people here who are attending are the students. So this answer, if we can keep it brief and explain why you need a degree or why you need a certification or you need both. And do you need to a very hands-on guy or just a security approach to come in this field? If you guys can take a stab at it.
Yeah, let me go first, Tapan. So my opinion, I think everybody starts off, as a programmer or a system administrator or somewhere at an entry level, and so it's very, very important from a cybersecurity perspective to understand right from the kernel level how a system works and how you layer your OS on top of it, the applications. Very, very important. So you need to be hands-on to understand that, and then spend some time, some years at that first line, either in development or system administration. And now we have things like what do you call virtualization and cloud technologies. But if you do not understand that, then you don't understand the controls around it, right? You don't understand what controls to put it. So that's very, very important. Always start at at an entry level, understand, and then you grow into the the bigger roles. That's one. From a education, definitely you need to have a degree. So at a minimum, like I think in India and Pakistan, you have like a 4-year bachelor's from engineering colleges. That's perfect. So you start off with that platform, and then once you have that, of course, you get into the industry, you work at that programmer or the system administrator level, or those kind of entry level technology jobs, and then you grow from there. If you want to get into cybersecurity, you build those skills. You have a lot of scope and potential later on in life. That's one. And finally, you need to keep studying. You need to keep adding certifications. Initially, when I remember the first certification started when I started my career in IT, we had there used to be like Microsoft, MCSE, and there was another one, I forgot the name right now, Landesk. Tapan, would you know that SENE or something?
CCNA.
CCNP. Yeah, you had all those certifications, great, but unless you understand that foundation, right? Yeah, you understand that foundation, you cannot grow further. And even talking about cloud, now you have a lot of cloud certifications out there. AWS has, Microsoft has, and Google Cloud, and you have specific certifications dedicated to cybersecurity. So basically, that's the advice.
Thanks a lot for Rahul sir for explaining the very, very good points. And Tapanda, I'm asking you, and I want to hear you because I know you are the guy who always know all these things. What is the starter if I am coming in a cybersecurity field? I am coming from. Where should I start?
Right. No, I think this is very good question, and Rahul explained it very nicely. So like both is needed. Like a degree, institutional degree, will build the foundation on top of which you can then build your career. If you are trying to get into a core cybersecurity, then on top of that you can build your career. But the difference between degree and like certification is sort of expedited path. So degree is absolutely necessary, but on top of that you can also get some certifications. Like then what happens is, like, number one, it make your resume very appealing to the hiring manager. So if they see one guy has only degree, but if he sees other guy has degree and certification both, obviously the second resume will be more appealing. And second thing, most of the certification is more closer to the industry, like what is happening now. Whereas degree in the institution, it's little backlag. Like they come up with the syllabus for the degree and all, which is, there is a lag. Like what is happening in industry, a certification will be more closely. Like right now, if you have a cloud certification, for example, which will be more closely. So what is happening in the cloud sector in the cybersecurity? So you'll get a better, knowledge or understanding of that. That's why later on in your career path, like, you will see people are giving more value if you have more certifications. But for beginners, I would suggest, like, degree is needed, and on top of that, if you can add, is like, certification will be icing on your cake. Like, you can package yourself better and market yourself better, and your resume will stand stronger. Imran, you are mute.
Happen again. So thanks for the answer. And so all the panelists, I am seeing the question that people are asking. So people are talking about this penetration testing, vulnerability scanning, and how Linux is important. I guess you all would agree that having a Linux in your arsenal, Linux skills in your arsenal, is definitely going to help you, right? Do you guys agree on that? But just quickly, even if you're doing a penetration testing, of course you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. I think, yeah, Linux is very important because, like, to understand, as we just discussed, like, to the core, how the operating system works and all. So Linux is used as the core operating system in not only for desktop area or applications, like also mobile, like the mobile operating system, both Android and iOS. It's some sort of like yeah. So built on that. So if you have good understanding of that, it will help in the long run.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So on that note, and penetration testing, I guess this is a whole new debate itself, because I know you guys are involved in the penetration testing. And just to answer the question, I'll take a stab myself. Penetration testing is just one part of the security, because this is the process where you identify what the issues you have. And as Saif sir, Tapan and Rahul has explained, you need a whole process to follow to gap those vulnerabilities and issues that you have found. Otherwise, there is no point of doing the penetration testing. Really, just knowing that you have an issue is not going to help you. You need to follow up on that. So on that note, I'll try to wrap it up. Saif sir, do you have any closing comment, anything you want to add that I might have missed, or you want to add anything?
Maybe I'll go for it, Imran. So I think
with respect to vulnerability and penetration testing,
just any one last comment quickly that you want to add before we end the session.
I think the audio might have some
the audio might have the issue. So Rahul sir, you can take the you can take the lead on that.
So I think going forward, looking forward for, especially for students, engineering students, I think cloud is the way to go. Definitely, get yourself updated with cloud, because that's the future. And of course, you need to still understand, your basic technology on-prem, that your regular hardware for PC servers, mainframes. You need to understand that, because cloud is just essentially that sitting, it's a big architecture sitting somewhere else, and it is that's how it's designed. But in addition to cloud, I think focus on cybersecurity, that has a lot of scope, considering now how the paradigm has changed from us, working from home with this whole COVID situation. So it's got a lot of scope, and good luck on your studies.
Yeah, I just want to add one like closing thoughts from my end. Is like, I just want to make it analogous with cricket. In the cricket, the batsman, you just have to fail once. For us cybersecurity professionals also, we get only one chance. One chance, if we fail, game over. But the hackers, they get a lot of chance. They continuously, try. Same like in cricket for batsmen, like you give one chance and you are out.
That's good analogy. Good. I love talking cricket, and thank you. Good analogy. Thank you, Tapanda. Saif sir, any last words?
Yeah. Yes. this has been very good discussion. I enjoyed it, and I hope the audience who is viewing and listening, they liked it too, and it's been helpful for them to make a decision and understand what's happening in this industry with respect to cybersecurity. And this is a excellent field if you're curious and investigative in nature. This is have a lot of scope, and it's going to keep growing. Actually, it's going to be have a lot of opportunity in future, as we have seen the survey shows. There's a lot of money being spent on this field. So definitely there is a career, and continue, if you want to continue in security, pursue this. This is very exciting ending career to be in. So good luck everyone with your endeavors, and it was nice talking to all of you. And as Tapan said, definitely, the hackers and attackers, these are much smarter than everybody says that, the defenders. So we have, there's always, the game is up, and we have to continue to, keep defending and trying to beat their new tricks and in the market. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Awesome. And just taking the cue from what you guys have said, I'll just try to
Thank you, Rahul.
summarize and the presentation here. You guys are correct. So as Tapanda said, as a batsman, you have to fail once and everything falls apart and dominoes goes down like anything. That's correct. So guys, yes, this field is wide open. This need resources like you. This need more people, because hackers are not sleeping. They're working 24/7 around the globe. They are building new techniques. They are attacking all the time, as Tapanda Rahul has said. They are firing and bombarding you with all the issues, and you just have to fail once. And once you failed, things are gone flat. You go to rubbles, the whole business go to rubbles, and then you have to build from the ashes. So rather than doing that, we need you guys to come in with more skills, more security mindedness and aptitude to help build a stronger future for all. And on that note, I'll thank all the audience from Pacific region, from India, Pakistan, and wherever you guys have joined. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'm very honored and very thankful to the very elite panel who has taken the time out of their busy schedule. I know I work under a couple of them, and I know they are mad busy all the time, but on a very short notice, you guys got the time and put the effort. I cannot thank you much for that, and it was an absolute honor to host a session, and I hope we will keep doing the sessions like that whenever we get time, and hopefully we will keep learning and spreading the awareness. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Signing off. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'll sign off.